presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A cloudy afternoon and some rain in the forecast here at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Wrigley Field, big crowd anticipated to be here. We hope the rain stays away. It's game number 2 of a 4-game set, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. Last night, a disappointing loss for the Cardinals and also the loss of Matt Holliday. A broken thumb, he's going to miss considerable time. Moments ago, Jim Hayes in the Cardinals clubhouse had the chance to visit with John Mozeliak.
Met with Dr. Goldfarb today. Basically just went over the x-ray findings, and then subsequently they'll meet again Monday to determine the next step.
And was there any information they could glean from that?
Well, I mean, I think you're really looking at 2 different options here. One might be a surgical procedure, or one might be just let it heal naturally. And I think the big question is how this affects the remainder of the season. So have a better feel for that by Monday or Tuesday.
And how do you guys move forward? Obviously, there's a whole...
Well, I think it's an impossible thing to just address in that regard in terms of how you fill it. Subsequently, we're going to have a move anyway tomorrow, and so that will likely be activating Weaver. But then how we play out the remainder of the year, whether we have 12 or 13 pitchers, will just determine what makes the most sense for us.
Well, certainly a tough loss for the Cardinals. That's the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We'll hear from Jim Hayes in just a moment. The question would be, how do the Cardinals go forward minus their left fielder?
Well, you know what? The Cardinals are no stranger to injury, and this is just another big injury that they're going to have to deal with this year, now more than probably last year. But Matt Holliday's a big piece of this puzzle, and they're going to have to find some way to move on, throw a different lineup out there tonight, and just see what you got. But definitely a blow that the Cardinals did not need at this time.
Well, Jim Hayes is with us. As I mentioned, he's been in the Cardinals clubhouse. And Jim, what's been the reaction to the injury to Matt Holliday?
Well, Holliday told me that he knew the thumb was broken on impact. He told me the team medical staff is telling him that since the fracture is on the inside part of the thumb, it affects stability and things like holding a bat. So they want to be very careful with it. But Dan, Holliday says he's hopeful he can play again this season, but he's going to have to wait and see.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. Wrigley Field, the scene. Just about set to go for our first pitch here this afternoon. It's the Cubs and Cardinals' great rivalry in the major leagues, and it comes your way on Fox Sports Midwest.
NL Central title. The two teams combined for 197 regular season wins and eventually met for the first time in postseason play. Jake Arrieta was unbelievable. One of the greatest seasons any pitcher has had since Bob Gibson over 50 years ago. Adam Wainwright started out strong until an Achilles injury robbed the right-hander of his 2015 campaign. So far this year, the race for division dominance has been rather one-sided. But both Arrieta and Wainwright are still pushing their teams towards the postseason. Adam has been average. He's dominated. He's disappointed. But he's ready every fifth day, and his leadership remains in a league of its own. Jake, meanwhile, proved he is in fact human, with a handful of hard luck losses in July. But his fastball remains the most feared in the game today. At Wrigley, Arrieta owns a 1.94 career ERA. Wainwright, 10-1 all-time in Chicago. A fantastic face-off at the friendly confines. Next on Fox Sports Midwest.
Please drink responsibly. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. A rainy Wrigley Field here in Chicago. Rain in the forecast, but we start this game on time. Great matchup. Wainwright, Arrieta, Cubs and Cardinals. And along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin. 78 degrees, muggy here in Chicago. Well, the Cardinals will face one of the game's best right now, and that is Jake Arrieta. A sensational season that saw him win the Cy Young Award last year. His ERA was 1.77. He went 22-6. This season, 13-5. ERA is under 3. He's had one complete game, trying to pick up win number 14 here today. The Cardinals line up with Matt Carpenter leading it off, followed by Steven Piscotty. Brandon Moss then moves up to the 3 spot. Holliday is going to miss considerable time, may miss the rest of the year. Yadier Molina, Jedd Gyorko, Greg Garcia, Rando Grichuk, Colton Wong, And the pitcher batting ninth, that is Adam Wainwright. Joe Maddon told his Cubbies, don't come to the ballpark until noon for this 1:20 start after the late night in Game 1 and extra innings. He's got his youth out there in the lineup today. Mike Matheny and the Cardinals did not take BP on the field. Tarp was on. And away we go. First pitch is popped up. Bryant will give it a look, and it's out of play. Two guys from TCU here, two very good friends, and Matt Carpenter and Jake Arrieta. What's it like facing a good buddy?
It's actually kind of fun. I mean, it's you see these pitchers go at it, you know, when they are friends and teammates for a long time, and then they have to pitch against each other and also hit off each other, and you can see kind of the smirks and the smiles even though they're trying to be serious. But I think it's a lot of fun because it's a good, clean part of baseball, and you're just trying to outdo each other.
No balls and 2 strikes. Not a lot of smiles, though, in this matchup for Matt Carpenter. 0 for 18 with 5 strikeouts. He did have a hit in postseason play against him. Those are the regular season numbers. The 0-2. And he struck him out. Fastball, a very good pitch for Jake Arrieta. Throws it 64% of the time, and baseball currently hitting 187 against that fastball, lowest mark in all of the sport.
I was going to say, as you were pointing out, not a lot of smiles for Matt Carpenter. Not a lot of smiles for a lot of guys in this league when Jake Arrieta is on the mound.
What has made him so good as you watch him?
Well, you know what? The one thing that you see is obviously the velocity and the stuff, but the one thing that really sticks out for me is the cross-firing, stepping across his body, stepping behind the right-handed hitter, you'll see, and then literally pinpoint control on the outside part. So it really is a deceptive motion because you don't see a lot of guys really go that far over to third base. And you know what? Not only is that trouble for the right-handers, it's trouble for the lefties too, because it creates an insane angle coming back at you.
Here's an 0-2. Usually that crossfire guy, not always, is a lefty. You don't see it a lot from the righties.
Yeah, it was another point it was going to make, is it's so different to see a right-hander come that far across his body. But it's almost one of those things as a hitter, you can't really rely on your eyes as much because it's going to play tricks on you. You just got to be ready to hit every pitch and kind of go after it like it's going to end up a strike. And you can see there's some weak swings because he's got great stuff, but it is deceptive.
Javier Baez puts that away. A look at the defense for the Cubbies. Contreras in left, Caesar in center, Soler is in right. Bryant, Russell, Baez, and Rizzo along the infield. Miguel Montero is behind the plate. Here's Brandon Moss. He homered last night. That was number 19 this year, and he has driven in 48. The shift is on. Arrieta came up through Baltimore's organization, then traded for Scott Feldman. Feldman is 23-27 since that deal. Arrieta 49-18. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, he has been tremendous in his last few years here, and it's actually kind of fun to watch. Being on the wrong side of it, not so much fun for the Cardinals, but just to see somebody turn into a, basically that's what we got out of Chris Carpenter. You know, he came from the Toronto Blue Jays.
Good point. Got hurt,
and then turned it around. And you know, it's good for baseball. A guy like this goes out there and really, especially in a city like this, and the domination is very unique, coming from kind of nowhere and all of a sudden just taking off.
Keeps himself in great condition. He's a workout fanatic, and obviously has put together another good year. Here's a 1-2 pitch. You mentioned it too, Jimmy. I mean, you throw across your body, and yet you have pinpoint control. And that's something that stands out with all his pitches when you talk about Jake Arrieta.
This creates a unique angle that you're not used to seeing, and he's got the advantage by that. Just you can see right there.
You mentioned it. Could be tough on the lefties too. He strikes out both lefties he sees in inning number 1. Zur. He'll lead it off for the Chicago Cubs. He's playing center field here today, followed by Bryant and Rizzo, then Soler, Russell, Contreras, Montero the catcher, Javier Baez, and the pitcher Jake Arrieta. Adam Wainwright is 9-6. ERA stands at 4.34. You know he gets up for matchups against the Cubs, but in particular when he's matched up against one of the game's best, last year's Cy Young Award winner Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, Adam Wainwright is your ace, and there's a reason why these two are matching up against each other. And he knows the importance of this game and the importance of keeping the Cubs to as little runs as possible, because Jake Arrieta is not going to be an easy target today.
Infield is in. At third base for the Cardinals is Jedd Gyorko. Big gap in right center. Hyundai pitch arsenal as we get a look at the Cardinals righty and what he features: the fastball, cutter, curve, and changeup. Here's a cutter, did not go. Wainwright took his first loss since June this past Sunday. 6 runs in a start for the 4th time this year. At a 1.77 ERA in July. Ground ball, fair. Little check swing just past Carpenter. It's a double for Caesar. Excuse me swing by Matt Caesar.
It's the last minute kind of cutter, and just throw your bat at the ball. And just like that happened to Yachty the other day, first baseman not really ready for a pitch or a ball hit to him to his left with a right-hander hitting.
Around the horn presented by Dobbs. There's a look at the Cardinals D. Leadoff double brings in Chris Bryant. Hitting at 285 this year, 28 home runs, 26 a year ago, en route to the Rookie of the Year. And he might be your MVP this season. He's driven in 70 to go along with those 28 home runs. And the 1-0 pitch. What's interesting is that he is the only player, the long history of the Cubs, with 70 driven in each of his first 2 seasons in the big leagues. That's hard to believe.
It's a lot of history.
A lot of great players.
I think this kid's going to be really special. I mean, obviously the Rookie of the Year, but there's a lot more to come with him. I think it just each year just gets a little bit better, a little bit smarter.
And he lifts a fly ball out to left. That's trouble. 1-0 Chicago. Back-to-back doubles to start the game against Wainwright. 1-0 Cubs.
Ball up in the zone a little bit. That's the thing about being Adam Wainwright too, is these guys are ready for Adam Wainwright. You miss early, but you see that ball is up a little bit, little cutter that didn't do much. These guys are going to be ready to go, because the thing when you're facing an ace is you don't want to get to those put away pitches. You don't want to get to that changeup or that curveball, especially the curveball. So they're going to be ready to swing early in the count. Quality pitches are important.
First base is open and a pitch taken up and in. Matt Holliday was hit last night, could be done for the year. And in the game of baseball, we've seen it for year after year, and that is retaliation. And you wonder if we'll see some of that here today. Runner at second base is Bryant. Cubs trying to make it 11 wins in a row. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rizzo took the walk yesterday with the bases loaded to win the game. on a ball that clearly was a strike, as we showed on the replay, but can't blame that. I mean, there were so many opportunities for the Cardinals and misplays along the way. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Rizzo. Inside. So you have Bryant, who's hitting in the second spot in this lineup, the 28 home runs. Rizzo third in RBIs. Bryant second in home runs to Arenado, who leads in both home runs and RBIs. He stands at second base. He has scored 86 runs to lead the National League. 3-1.
Well, the important part with these two guys is they're both hitting 285 and above. Their contact as much as power and as much as anything. And we saw last night how well Chris Bryant can run. So these two guys, 2 and 3 in their order, are special, and they're going to be here for a long time. But they create havoc. Just good at bat after good at bat. Power, put the ball in play, contact, can run, and do the little things. So this is a tough combination for the opposing pitchers.
And he walked him.
Patience. I mean, these guys are, I wouldn't say the total package yet, but on their way to being that.
Awfully close. And it represents a great 1-2 punch in the middle of this lineup, and now it's Jorge Soler. Used as a pinch hitter late last night, picked up an infield hit. The Cubs are 40-17 at home. Best home record in baseball. Baltimore is second. They have won 14 of the last 17 here at the friendly confines. Soler, ground ball to third. Out at second, and no turn by Wong. That's how you take out a double play. And it's within the rules.
Yeah, just, you know what? I've been watching this over the course of the year, and we've been talking a lot about it. But if you just appear that you're coming down the line and running hard, you're going to put fear into the second baseman. And right here, running hard down the line, a good late slide, and then hold on to the bag. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's exactly the way, that's within the rules and still playing the game the way it should be played.
Now it's Addison Russell. He's hitting 243, had a double last night, 13 home runs. He's driven in 68. Runners at first and third with one out. Wainwright would love the double play. Pitch taken inside. One thing you see with this Cubs lineup, there's not a lot of, give in the lineup. Not a lot of guys that you can let up with. Not to say that you'd want to give in to a major league hitter, but other teams just don't have the talent base right now that Chicago possesses.
Yeah, and the only one thing that I see that could be a loophole in that lineup would be a few young guys that you can kind of make some pitches to.
Over the head of Grichuk into the ivy. One run is in. Soler stops at third. That's 3 doubles against Wainwright here in the first.
To elaborate that, I think that there's a good combination of young versus old or veterans and young guys that are free swingers, but the key to that is making pitches. You can pitch around, pitch in, pitch out, it's up and down, but when you throw the ball down the middle, you're going to have a lot of trouble. See here, this is a sinker that Adam just did not get where he wanted to get it, even though it was down a little bit. Wasn't the usual sinker that Wainwright possesses.
Here's Wilson Contreras, scored the game-winning run last night. Led off the 11th with a single. And he has hit safely in 8 of his last 9. Here's a guy that was basically available for anybody in the big leagues. He was a former infielder. They converted him to a catcher, and they love him defensively because of his arm. They feel he's got a little pop too.
I mean, if you could just get him in the lineup and get him some at-bats and get him comfortable with just playing at this level, that's a huge key. And Joe Madden being Joe Madden, throw him out in left field, get him in the lineup. Young legs out there on a day game after a night game. I mean, I think that over and over and over we talk about the keys to being a good team, and the good team is athletic. It's one of these things when you get enough guys that can play multiple positions, you've given yourself a whole lot of options for when the team gets tired, especially in August. A lot of day games here in Chicago, so being able to run guys out in different positions is huge key.
Swing and a miss. And Wainwright picks up his first strikeout. Brings in Montero with runners at second and third, and now 2 outs. That's kind of what you're talking about there, Jimmy. A young player, get him to expand his zone.
Especially because the pitch before, it looked like he might have been guessing for the slider or cutter and threw a fastball right by him. So as a hitter, you're thinking, man, that ball, I got to make an adjustment if he throws that fastball again. And then that's as a good pitcher comes back with the pitch he was looking for the pitch before, which is the cutter slider. He cannot lay off of it because he was behind on the fastball the pitch before.
Here's Montero. He was picked up prior to last season from Arizona. He's been on the DL a couple of times this year with a lower back issue. Played in just 61 games. Two and 0 the count. Montero has had some of the better success in this lineup against Adam Wainwright for the Cubs. Hitting .318 in his career. And he pulls the cutter foul. The 2-1 pitch to Montero. Understand there is rain in the forecast, and right now you'd hope it started raining. Here's a 3-1 pitch with runners at second and third and 2 down. Already a 2-0 Chicago lead. Full count. And the next to Montero, and he struck him out. No, just got a piece. See the respect that the catchers have for each other. The backswing there, Montero, make sure he didn't catch Molina. Just found it interesting when Mark McGwire was taking BP and the opposition would come out to watch him take BP, and so many players talk of great respect for Yadier Molina. 3-2. And you can understand why.
The good thing about Yadi is you can tell just by watching, but he's respectful of everyone out there. He's a nice guy unless things go wrong. And he'll get up in your face in a hurry. But other than that, he's got a lot of respect for the game and the players on the other team as well.
He walked him. Did not go. Bases loaded. 2 walks in the inning, 3 doubles. Wainwright asking where was that pitch on 3 and 2. He thought he had a strikeout.
Just above the zone a little bit. Good job of holding up right there. I don't know how he held up on that.
So here is Baez, 8th place hitter. He swings with everything he's got. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Saw him a couple of years ago when he first came to the big leagues. A ton of strikeouts. Still strikes out a lot, but more times than not he's putting the ball in play.
All about growing up.
Yep.
Learning what you can and cannot hit. That's why it's so important to get these young guys at bats.
0-2.
You really can't teach it. You really can't teach certain things at this level, and one of them is just about how you're going to get pitched, when you can let it go, when you need to be careful, and you just have to have at bats. And that's what, sometimes even though guys are struggling, you've got to keep trying to run them out there so they can learn for themselves. There's nothing you can say to them to help.
1-2. Here's a 1-2 pitch with the bases loaded. Ground ball. Force play at third as Jedd Gyorko steps on the bag. They send NA to the plate, and it's a 2-0 lead. Struck out 2 of the first 3 he saw in the first. It'll be Molina, Gyorko, and Garcia. Yadier Molina hitting .285 with 4 home runs, and he's driven in 35. The presence of Matt Holliday not in this lineup. It makes you think, have we seen his final game in a Cardinals uniform last night? Maybe. Who knows? Time will tell. The Cardinals hold an option on his deal, and you think about whether or not surgery is going to be a part of the equation in coming back. Can he make it back in time before the end of September? Here's an 0-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Serves a fly ball into right. And the catch is made by Soler. You missed it. Here it was last night. Holliday. A broken bone in the thumb. Leads us to our Toyota keys to the game.
Next man up, my friend. I mean, you don't like to hear it, you don't like to say it, but someone's going to have to step up and take the place of Matt Holliday. Matt Holliday is an important part of this team. Leadership on the field, off the field. They're going to be without him for a while on the field and in the dugout. So someone's going to come up, step up, and have to do the job.
Popped up. Montero gives it a look, and it's out of play. It has been the last 2 years a series of injuries that have cost the Cardinals. Think about Wainwright, Molina this year, Diaz, Holliday last year. It's not just the fact that you have injured players, but they are key players. They're everyday players. Lance Lynn gone for the year. I know you were talking to John Mozeliak about that.
Yeah, it was funny because I think last year, and we all think about how difficult of a year they had injury-wise, and he said he thought that this year actually was more. And I think last year it's so amazing that they did so well that everyone talked about the injuries, and this year struggling. Injuries don't seem to be the forefront.
That'll be an error on Bryant. Got a ground ball off the bat of Jedd Gyorko. He'll wind up at second base, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Matt Holliday has had a tremendous major league career, and it's not done, and it may not be done in St. Louis.
Definitely not done. I think he's still got a few years left if he wants them. But there are definitely going to be some decisions to be made. And you know, that guy right there, I'm sure he's frustrated right about now. Just injuries and dealing with some sketchy play at times. So he's got his work cut out for him the rest of this year and this coming up offseason. And he put a good team on the field at the beginning of this year in spring training. And they just haven't really hit their stride, performed the way everyone expected. A lot of injuries. Just having a tough year.
It was Will Mozeliak, John's son, to his left. Annual guys trip. So Will here in Chicago. Young man there on the right.
Drinking water out of a paper bag already. We were talking earlier about the situation with even the cups of water are running all over our tables in the booth, all over our scorecards. Mo said, I have to go get plenty of napkins because the table ends up being a mess between him eating hamburgers, the water bottles dripping, trying to keep it clean so he can write some notes.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Garcia. You know, it has been a very good team assembled. And I think when they evaluate this team at the end of the year, you have to wonder if there's just too many parts. Has it been tough for certain guys to get into a rhythm? And that includes offensively and defensively. We don't talk enough about that. Inside to Garcia. Would you agree?
I would agree. You know, but I also came from that era of players that just they ran out there and played every day, and there was no excuses, and you had to play your way through slumps and play your way through difficult times, or basically you weren't getting your playing time cut, you were getting you cut. I mean, you didn't play at a certain level, you were on your way out and might not get another chance. So some of these guys are very fortunate. They're getting some extended looks, but short periods of time. But sometimes I think that might not be enough playing time for one person to get certain people to get their career started.
Brings in Randal Grichuk with 2 on. He homered here last night. Follow Cardinals baseball with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day Live. All the highlights, StatCast, news, and more. #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
You know, really the tough thing is manager trying to manage all these guys, and that's just the way the game has changed. I mean, it has gone to platoons, matchups. It's not just like the Cardinals, it's everyone. And you only notice it, a little bit more when your team struggles. Obviously last year they had to do more work and dancing around injuries and stuff, and they won, so really no talk of it. But as soon as you start to taper off a little bit, you're going to hear a lot more talk about playing time and injuries and stats. And you know, at times defense has been a little tough, so we're going to hit on it a little bit more when the struggles continue, or if they continue.
I'm sure that'll be one of the themes of the offense and the defense in this offseason. Consistency, but especially fundamentals defensively with this team. 0-2 the count. Strikeout of Pritchett. Third strikeout for Jake Arrieta. And it brings in Colton Wong. I think this is one of the guys and a good example we're talking about. Finding consistent playing time, then finding a rhythm. But he was given a lot of opportunities to take that playing time and run with it.
I just think for Colton this year, whether it be enough playing time, not enough playing time, he's been really searching for a way to find his swing. It's sometimes it's been a really big swing. Sometimes he's been trying to stay inside the ball. He doesn't really have it. For me, it looks like one comfortable situation at the plate. It's like I said the other day, he was kind of looked like he was coming out of his shoes. He might have felt really good, and then other days it looks like he's struggling to see the ball and he's trying to stay inside of it. But sometimes you have to just go out there and trick the opposing pitcher and make it look like you're feeling good every day. I mean, that was one of the things that I was told when I was younger. So, you know, he's still searching for exactly how he wants to have his approach each and every day.
Here's a 1-1. 2 strikes on Colton Wong. So with Holliday out, you know, this would be a very good opportunity right now for Matt Adams. Unfortunately for him, he's on the DL. Think about who has to play left field more times than not. Looks like it may go to Moss. And you need a first baseman. So it's Matt Carpenter here today. I think there's 3 guys you look really hard at here down the stretch. Grichuk, Wong, Adams. And see how these 3 young, very talented players, if they could put something together.
Definitely a great opportunity for those 3 guys.
No doubt.
Got to get Matt Adams back as soon as possible, get him out there on the field and get him some at bats, and hopefully he'll get healthy quick and it'll only be a short stint on the DL and get him in the lineup.
The 2-2. What do you see with Colton Wong? Is there anything you would do with adjustments with the swing?
No, I really don't see anything yet. I saw the other day it looked like he had kind of just certain points in his swing. It looked like he's just swinging over the top of a lot of pitches that he wasn't recognizing the slider. Ball down and in. You got to find a way to take it. Sometimes it looked like he's swinging a little too hard. Just like to see more of a consistent swing. Approach is one thing, but day to day, swinging too hard, then kind of staying inside the ball the next day is tough to manage.
Cardinals strand 2 in the top of the second. Arrieta leads it off when we come back. Fans ages 16 and older receive a replica batting practice hat, compliments of Monsanto. Get your tickets for the August 28th Cardinals Oakland A's game at cardinals.com/promotions. Jake Arrieta can swing the bat. Couple of home runs this year. He has driven in 6. It was Arrieta and Madison Bumgarner saying they wanted to compete in the home run derby. I'm not sure if I'm the GM of the Giants or the Cubs. I like that idea. There's strike one. Don't see this every day. These two know each other so well. Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright. Which one is the ball that he gets?
He focused on the first one and got out of the way of the second one. Luckily, they weren't thrown in the same place.
Exactly. Pretty amazing to see how far Arrieta has come. Showed some promise in Baltimore and then comes to Chicago, and they say, well, go back to what made you to get to this point. And a lot of it was what Jimmy talked about. The odd delivery to the plate. It's probably not a delivery you would teach. We hear all the time about being direct to home plate with the pitcher's lead leg, especially for a right-hander. Here's a 1-2.
Funny thing nowadays is they try to correct that.
Exactly.
They try to prevent you from stepping across your body for injury. But I mean, how do you argue with what he's done?
The 2-2. Hit out of play. Well, that's not to be lost on this Cardinals team, all the injuries. Not an excuse, as you put in your keys to the game, next man up. But these are terrific players that the Cardinals are missing. Matt Holliday, Ledmus Diaz in this lineup. And it's funny, if you're a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in a while, you'd be saying, well, you're still in the wild card hunt. You have a chance to get in the playoffs, and that's where the Cardinals are right now.
Well, and that's got to be, I mean, we've talked a lot about injuries and tough teams and tough seasons and stuff, but they're still in the hunt for the wild card, so we can't lose sight of that. And they still got a lot to play for.
Second strikeout. Diaz, Lions done for the year. He was put on the 60-day DL. Michael Wacha, Matt Adams, Matt Holliday, Brian Pena, your backup catcher, not listed there. So all those guys playing a key role on this team. Good players. And missed right now. Here's Matt Caesar, who doubled and is hit by the pitch. Looked to be a breaking ball that just got away. Maybe a cutter. And Caesar just turns in the front shoulder, hit by the pitch.
Just a breaking ball slipped out of his hand. You can see he's just not happy at all, but what are you going to do? I mean, it is humid out there, and I'm sure every now and then a ball is going to get away from the pitcher with the breaking ball, as far as not being able to get a full grip on it.
So one out and a runner at first. You were telling me something very interesting today before the game. What really helped you in approach with a runner at first and a potential of a double play when you're a hitter and what to expect. He goes down to get that pitch, laces it into left center field. Caesar on his way to third, being waved in, and he will score. Chris Bryant 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles, a couple of RBIs.
But you get a guy on first base as a hitter, and you got to know that they're going to try to get you to roll over a ball, get into a double play. He does a good job of going down right there and getting underneath a ball and driving it in the gap.
Essentially, that was the pitch you were talking about. In with the sinker.
A lot of veteran pitchers, a lot of good pitchers will take that walk and try to come back with just a pitch that the hitter can roll over, try to maybe take a little off, get you to swing over the top of something, get back that walk with a one-pitch double play. But hitters that know that will go down and try to get underneath that and drive the ball in the air in the gap. And he did a good job of it right there.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. Runner at second, 1 out, 1 ball, no strikes.
I think the Oakland A's were huge with that in the 90s. And we were told that if he goes guy on first base and you're the next hitter, look for a get me over 2-seam sinker to try to get you to hit a ground ball. It's the one thing that's nice about scouting is if you know that as a hitter, you can go up there and look for that, especially if, for me being left-handed and being able to drive the ball in the other way in the other gap. You can really take advantage of that.
Now with 2 outs, it's Soler. Cutter hits the outside corner. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Goes down to get it. Off the end of the bat, and a run will score. 4-0 Chicago. Not a bad pitch.
Not a bad pitch at all. Just another big swing. Big guy hits the ball at the end of the bat. I think Randall Grichuk got a bad read and then slipped. You see right here. Oh, no, he just slipped altogether. I mean, the field has got to be so wet in that outfield. The one thing as an outfielder is after a rain delay or any kind of rain, they take that infield tarp and they dump all that water into the outfield and it just kind of runs off. And I feel like it's nice to have a good infield to run on, but hey, what about us? Like, throw all that water in the outfield. You literally can be running through inches of water for the first couple innings trying to let that stuff soak in.
They redid the turf and the drainage here about 3, maybe 4 years ago. Used to have a huge crown on the infield, huge, to the point where if you were standing in the dugout, the bottom step, you could not see your third baseman, or if you did, you saw maybe just his face and his cap.
Yeah, from the chest up. They've done such a great job with the drainage. I'm glad it's a lot better playing surface here now than it used to be, and it's deservingly so. These players playing in this atmosphere deserve a good field to play on, and that's one of the reasons why I thought it was so tough to be a visitor here. Is there's nothing like it in the league, and it's something that you have to come in here day in and day out to get used to. And I think now they've kind of taken that away. The field looks amazing. I went down there yesterday, and it's really a lot flatter and just looks like a better surface altogether.
Here's a 1-2. That's what you're talking about. So they've got the tarp, and then that's one of the drains in which they push the water towards that area.
And all that water will just sit there until it can work its way into the ground or work its way into the drain.
Three and 2 the count. Check swing, did not go. Third walk issued by Adam Wainwright. 50 pitches here in the first 2 innings. He's given up 4 doubles and a total of 5 base hits.
Last couple games, like you saw the stat, 10 runs in the first 2 innings, but this is not the Adam Wainwright we're used to seeing. It looks like he's just missing a little bit with his location. Get behind a little bit. Couple balls up in the zone.
Contreras drives it out to left center. And a 3-run homer. It's 7-0 Cubs.
Pretty good location right there on that fastball, but just really, fastball didn't sink like it normally does.
Here is Montero. 7-0 Chicago. 2 runs in the first, 5 here in the second inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. And certainly the Cardinals will have to go to their bullpen here this afternoon. Longman has been Lions at times. As we told you, his season is through. I thought the Cardinals, outside of Seung-Hwan Oh, come into this game in pretty good shape, even after the long game number 1 last night. The 2-2. Ground ball slowly hit. Underhanded by Wong to Carpenter. 7-0 Cubs. Is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. We want to thank our great sponsors and their loyalty to our broadcast, both hockey and baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. This is our annual sponsors trip here at the ballpark in Chicago, Wrigley Field. And many thanks to our great sponsors for their continued support all season long. It's Adam Wainwright. He'll lead it off. The Cardinals are going to start to get some activity in their pen. Seth Main is throwing.
You were talking about the bullpen situation, and I kind of just happened to glance down and thought to myself, we might get a chance to see a lot of Seth Maness and maybe a lot of Alex Reyes today.
I think the idea would be that Reyes would piggyback tomorrow, so you'd see him tomorrow potentially, but that has to be in the back of Mike Matheny's mind too. You have a rookie making his major league debut at this ballpark against a red hot Chicago Cubs team. Obviously, the idea is that he goes deep or gives you 6, maybe 7 innings, if not more, but that's of concern.
Well, the other thing too is I don't think Adam Wainwright's coming out of this game anytime soon, so that's one good news. We'll see with Seth Maness throwing if he's just getting loose just in case and coming in or not, but I don't know. I just think that might be a chance that Adam might lobby to stay out there a little bit longer because he knows the situation with the bullpen.
And there's a base hit inside that left field line. Wainwright is digging for 2 on his way to second and in there safely. It's a double for Wainwright. I would counter that by just saying, Jimmy, I don't know then why you would have Maness up and throwing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I was kind of just speaking out of just sheer hope, but Seth is getting hot.
You know, Mike Matheny saying, all right, we don't burn a pinch hitter here in the 3rd inning, and obviously can handle the bat. Most of his base hits this year have been extra bases for Wainwright.
Good look at that slide. Baez with a really good tag, but Wainwright in there pretty easily when you see it in slow motion.
Now it's Matt Carpenter. Pitch up and in at 95 from Arrieta. Carpenter struck out his first time up. Pops it foul and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What a play right there by a fan.
I didn't see it. What happened?
Right behind your monitor, the man stood up and one hand snagged it. Didn't want to drop his beer.
But you know, Jimmy, he won't be able to feel anything for the next
that was actually a good one.
day.
That wasn't your normal smack off the hand. He reached up there and caught that ball pretty good. But of course, he is looking at his bare hand now.
It's another big crowd here at Wrigley Field. We always say it, if you haven't been to Wrigley and you have the time to do it, take in a Cubs Cardinals weekend series here at Wrigley Field. Here's a 2-1. Popped up left side. Shallow left. And the catch is made. Well, tonight we bring you a new episode of Cardinals Legends. We take you back to 1996. Cardinals gain new ownership, new manager, return to the playoffs. Cardinals Legends, a new era begins, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevy dealers tonight at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. We'll be walking on Michigan after the game tonight. You'll see Cardinal fans everywhere.
Everywhere. That's the good news about being on the road in this city is most of the Cub fans go home to their house. All the Cardinal fans are wandering around on vacation. A lot of red walking around the streets after a day game here.
I'm assuming you were received quite well by the Cubs faithful after all the damage you did against Chicago.
It took me a while to get started. I actually got a couple of boos early on. And it was a mixed reaction at the beginning, and I think I started off maybe 1 for 8 or 9 or 10, and then I got lucky and the wind was blowing out one day and I hit a one-handed home run to dead center field, and ever since then they were quite nice.
Jason Hayward is feeling their wrath a little bit right now. Not in the lineup here today.
Luckily, I was only 1 for 8 or 9 or 10.
Right.
It wasn't a couple hundred at bats into the season.
You know, and from a player's perspective, that can really bury a player. You sign that big deal, come to a new situation, high expectations, and you don't put up numbers. It's a tough situation.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't even happen to have to deal with the money. I got here and I was kind of floating around, and I'm telling you, you could feel the pressure after a few games of just getting one hit. I mean, I was really trying a little bit harder than I should have, and it's intense.
Rizzo makes the play on the catch, and there's 2 down. Piscotty now is your everyday right fielder for the most part. Little center field, just like Hayward a year ago. And the comparison between the two. First full season in the big leagues for Stephen Piscotty. Hayward making about $22 million and Piscotty just over $500,000. That's a big difference, and the numbers have been different. We'll see how it all plays out here in the next few years. Here's Brandon Moss with 2 outs and a runner at second base. Strike 1. I think you make a very good point. This Cubs team is headed to the playoffs, whether it's as a division champ or, barring that collapse, a wild card winner. How do their young players react to the expectations here in Chicago? And you played on a team that had high expectations, a good team. I say it all the time. It's different here than it is anywhere else in baseball.
Well, and it's also different in the playoffs than it is just cruising through a season. In 2008, we were cruising into the playoffs, and I think the guys thought that they were just going to cruise right through the playoffs, and it doesn't work that way. You still have to flip a switch no matter how good you are, because you're going to get the best out of everyone for 4 or 5 games.
Out to deep center, and the catch is made up against the ivy. The souvenir thanks to Matt Caesar.
It was a tough decision, Michael, but the way Hal Steinbrenner approached it with so much respect, I thought it was an incredible opportunity for me to continue my relationship with the Yankees and the Steinbrenner family. And I'm a big believer, and we share the same beliefs about the Yankees, our prospects, and where we're going to be in the next 4 to 5 years.
Final game for A-Rod tonight at 6 on Fox. Or will it be the final game? There's been a lot of talk that Miami has interest in bringing Alex Rodriguez back to his hometown to finish his career. They have an issue with Justin Bour at first base. This is our Chevy call to the pen and Seth Maness. So that's it for Adam Wainwright. Baez a ground ball to short. Maness has been really good here recently.
So what you're saying, and I was completely wrong with the pitching situation.
Well, you were, you know,
I was being hopeful.
You're thinking with your heart.
I guess I was. I found it interesting that you say that Alex Rodriguez might be maybe, or not you, but people have said maybe Miami, maybe this, maybe something. You know, is he done? 18 home runs away from Babe Ruth. I mean, that is incredible. I don't care what people think about him. That's still some kind of feat.
4 away from 700, I believe. So,
but I'm wondering if that played a part in just because the Yankees are paying him so much money, if they really don't want him to go somewhere else and get those numbers.
You played against A-Rod.
A lot. Well, I mean, I guess a lot. Enough. Good player. I mean, really was. He was a good player when he came up. Seattle, he was phenomenal. He was a phenomenal athlete. He was one of those guys, it's kind of a different version, but the same kind of a swing as Albert. Like, he could really go down and get the ball and hit the ball to the right field with power. He could pull the ball was up in the zone, he could get to it. The ball down, he could get to it. Athletic, shortstop. He played third base pretty well. It's just, I mean, say what you want to say about Alex and the things he's gone through, but he was a really, really good player and for a long time.
Numbers are incredible, but clearly he's not being celebrated as if he didn't have some of the baggage that came along with him. So you get a look at Matt Holliday, who will see a specialist today here in Chicago and then head back home on Monday for further evaluation. Talking there with Tommy Pham.
I mean, that's the one thing that Matt Holliday is going to have to be able to do now is he's going to have to be able to teach and help from that dugout, because and that can be just as important as him being on the field. I mean, there's nothing you can do now. He's hurt. He's not going to have a chance to play for a long time. The knowledge that he brings, the amount of games that he's played, and the situations that he's been in over the years is just as helpful to his teammates on and off the field.
Here's Chris Bryant already, a big day with a couple of doubles, 2 for 2. Adam Wainwright with just 2 innings in this game, matching the shortest outing of his career. One other time, that was against Cincinnati in 2013. So 2 outs and a runner at first, and Bryant, who just might be the MVP. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Pulled foul. Members of the media and media relations staff of the St. Louis Cardinals here today.
Pulling their hair out.
There's Derek Gould there on the right. You always got along with the writers, didn't you?
Yeah, as long as I didn't read the articles. Just kidding.
Here's a 1-2.
I think that the one thing you find when you retire, and especially if you come to this side of the world, the job, the respect factor that you have now on both sides, which I think you kind of don't really understand or see it when you're just a player. You kind of get protected and lost going out there and playing every day and get babied and protected.
for Matt Holliday. More on that. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan Holliday told me that the team doctors told him that since the fracture of that right thumb is on the inside part of the thumb, it affects stability and things like holding a bat. So they plan to be very careful with it. He knows he's going to be out at least a while, and he's really down about that. But he told me, you play a sport for a living, it can happen. He's got another appointment with the Cardinals hand specialist on Monday. He'll know more about what his future holds then. And then he hasn't officially been put on the DL yet. That will happen tomorrow when they activate Luke Weaver, who will start for the Cardinals.
How was his spirits? Because we know he gives everything he's got every day.
Down. He is down, but he kept saying it happens in sports. So he knows guys have been injured before him and guys will be injured after him. But obviously he'd like to be out there playing. And then he is staying hopeful that somehow, some way he ends up playing this season. But he'll have to wait and see what the specialist says.
Here is Yadier Molina. First pitch is hit out of play. And Jimmy, when you talked to Mike Matheny in the heat of the moment yesterday, and Matt Holliday, some of the other members of the club right after the game, what was their reaction to not only the loss but then losing Matt Holliday?
Yeah, it was more than just a bad loss to the Cubs at Wrigley. Holliday is one of the leaders on this team, very, very well liked down in the clubhouse, and they knew you have a thumb fracture, that's serious business, Dan.
And I know you had the chance to visit with Luke Weaver, and we'll see his Major League debut tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Midwest.
Yeah, and he's pretty confident. Said his fiancée will be here, his family will be here watching him, and he said basically what he's been told is they're not going to try to overload him with information. They just kind of want him to watch and maybe talk to Waino after Waino gets a start, get some information, but they're thinking they want him to execute what he can do as opposed to worrying about the Cubs.
And I know finally, Jimmy, a tough assignment to do this at Wrigley Field. Make your Major League debut and do it against a red-hot Cubs team.
That's true, Dan. It's a very tough assignment.
That's something that, thanks, Jim, for the follow-up there. That's something that the Cardinals had talked about, concern when you give somebody their debut, pitching against this team, this atmosphere, this crowd. I mean, you're nervous anyway. It's your Major League debut, and then you add all that to it. It's something to think about.
Well, I mean, if you look at it that way, nothing else to worry you for the rest of your career. Just throw them out here on a Saturday afternoon at Wrigley in front of 40,000 with the best team in the league going. So hopefully the rest of his starts will be just smooth and easy.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Pitch at 95 on the outside corner and spoiled by Molina. We're seeing more and more where when pitchers go in, do hitters have the understanding, and I'm not talking about Holliday specifically, but just in general, of just trying to get out of the way. Those pitches that are up and in. We've seen that now twice this season with Holliday. Here's a 1-2. And Molina strikes out. This was Andrew Kashner as a member of the Padres that catches the nose of Holliday. And then last night up and in and catches the hand and breaks a bone. Not to say there's an art to getting out of the way, but a lot of teams, you'll see their big sluggers, they hang in there waiting for the ball to break, and it doesn't.
Well, it's a lot of those right-handed guys that have to stay on that slider. It's tough for them to bail out early. I think that for me, it's hard to really talk about because being left-handed, I had it a lot easier. Facing lefty-lefty, really got to learn how to turn your back. But I mean, when you have to do that every day against right-handers and try to hit a slider, which Matt Holliday hits the slider very well, you have to stay in there. And sometimes if you just don't pick up the ball, your late movement to getting out of the way is trouble and is nothing you can really do.
One out base hit for Jedd Gyorko, and it brings in Greg Garcia.
How about the reporting by the cat?
Oh,
he
it's
is
just sensational.
all over it. I mean, I don't think our broadcast would be half as good as they are without him.
Sensational. Nominated for an Emmy.
Information galore.
Jimmy did an off-season show at the winter meetings, and that was nominated for an Emmy with all his hard work.
Dan, I just look at every broadcast as an opportunity to be the best I can, and I'm just glad to be part of the team with you guys, Dan.
Was that Jim?
I think he's.
Is it?
It sounds like he's echoing.
No, I'm right here behind you, Dan. Right here.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
All right.
No wonder you were so loud.
Get used to it.
Right behind you, Dan.
3-0 the count on Garcia.
That is our newest hallway cam.
That is the hallway cam. We've had it for years.
Just
not new.
First
we
time
just never show it.
There you go.
Ground ball hit up the middle. And that'll be the second error on the Cubs today.
Still a lot of game to be played there, Dan. Couple of hits, couple of errors, couple of runs early. You never know. Wind's blowing out.
Now Grichuk. We have rain just to the south of us, and a lot of it. Ton of rain earlier this morning. And here's the 0-1 pitch to Grichuk. Hits it out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. A strikeout of Molina, base hit by Gyorko. Garcia reaching on the air. We're in the top of the 4th, and it's 7-0 Cubs. Oh, 0-2 the count. And a foul ball. The Cardinals start today, half game back of Miami in the wild card. I mean, that's the crazy thing. You have such a disappointing loss last night. Holliday's out for an extended period. You're down 7-0. All is not lost, even though it may seem to be the case. That isn't the case. This team has a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. And I'm sure we're used to, around St. Louis, we're all used to them being in first place and talking about playoff time right now. And as bad as things have been, as many injuries as they've had, and as much as we've harped on the defense at times, pitching at times, obviously we're going to break it down a little bit more than most, but they're a half game out of being in the playoffs if the season ended today. So a couple more days from now, they might be a couple games up. You just never know. You got to stay with it.
5 strikeouts today for Jake Arrieta. Arcia in the driver's seat. Arrieta by month. Tough July. That's odd to see that with what he has done last couple of years, but so far in August, no earned in 11 1/3. Here's Colton Wong. Jonathan Broxton is throwing in the Cardinals pen. Get the feeling if you see that, Manus would give you potentially 2 or 3 innings. But by giving you one here, maybe Broxton for one, somebody else for one, you try to keep yourself covered for tomorrow, potentially.
The wild card is what you said too, is Alex Reyes. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to go out there and throw an inning today with the effort that he gives and be ready to go tomorrow. I like what you said. I didn't think about it earlier, but you got a guy that could probably go and give you some innings tomorrow if tomorrow's starter Weaver runs into some trouble early. So this is what the manager deals with on an everyday basis. We get a chance to talk about it once in a while, but this is the stuff that goes on daily. Thinking about tomorrow, thinking about Sunday night. I mean, and then they get the off day. They're thinking about who to rest, when to rest. I mean, there's a lot going on in that dugout and in his office every single day.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Colton Wong. Grounded out to second. 0 for 1.
I walked into Mike's office the other day, probably about 10 to 15 minutes before the game started, and he was sitting on his couch on a coffee table that was probably at least 4 or 5 feet around, and it was filled with paperwork. It was filled with paperwork from the night before, the day he had the lineup in his hand. He had all of his cards out. I mean, think about that. 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the game, he's still looking at scenarios just in case. What ifs?
Two-one pitch. 2-2. Took some off it. Arrieta trying to pick up strikeout number 6. Three-two pitch to Colton Wong. Inside, and the bases are loaded. Jeremy Hazelbaker will be the pinch hitter. You never know. One swing of the bat, all of a sudden it's 7-4. Bases loaded here in the top of the 4th. Hazelbaker pinch hitting for Seth Maness. Strike 1.
Oh, did not like that strike call right there. There's so much sink. You know, not only does he crossfire and he throws the ball on the corners, you see a lot of the right-handers give up and the ball comes back over the plate. Lefty, same thing on the inner half.
0-1 pitch. Hits it the other way. And lines out to left. Contreras with the catch, almost snuck over his glove. Cardinals strand the bases loaded. They have stranded 6 in this game.
That would have been a
Last night, the Brewers scoring in every inning. The Angels have lost 7 straight, 18 games back, and Zach Britton, no earned runs in his last 39 appearances. Major league record. Baltimore is a half game back of Toronto. Boston 3 out. Yankees still a shot, 6.5 games out. Cleveland leads Detroit by 4 games. Kansas City now 10 back. Seattle has won 6 in a row. They're 6.5 back of Texas. There's Jim Hayes. And a strike to Rizzo. So Broxton into the ball game. 2 innings from Adam Wainwright. Inning from Seth Maness. And now Broxton. Rizzo, Soler, and Russell. 0-1 pitch. San Francisco with a 1-game lead over the Dodgers. And here in the Central, Cubs have won 10 straight, 13-game lead. One and two the count. Rizzo has walked and also popped out. Outfield is straight away and deep. Ground ball that's hit to the right side, taken there by Colton Wong. And that's the first out.
Watching that replay right there and watching in the background, the home plate umpire, Rizzo is so close to the plate. A normal position for the umpire, his view is blocked by Anthony Rizzo's hands.
You've seen a guy that stands on the plate as close as Rizzo?
No, not with his body. I mean, you see his back foot is on the plate, but what's amazing is his hands, and you can see the umpire having to look around his hands. But part about that is it appears that he's not really that close because you can see his front foot and his body is kind of open a little bit, but his left side is literally hanging over the plate with his hands.
0-1 pitch to Soler. The Cubs a few years ago went into that international signing period and picked up some very good talent. One of those players right here in Soler. Then they had the high draft choices after finishing poorly, and they built this up right. 0-2. Misses on the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Chevy Fox tracks. That pitch misses in. And the 1-2. Ground ball, Broxton. Out number 2. Don't miss Outdoors Night, presented by Bass Pro Shops at Busch Stadium on Thursday, September 8th. Fans purchasing the special theme ticket take home a unique Cardinals camo t-shirt. Get your outdoors theme nights tickets at cardinals.com/theme. Two outs and a ground ball slowly hit to third. Gyorko makes the play, and we played 4 from Wrigley Field. It's 7-0 Cubs. third tonight in what may be his final major league game. If not, he'll collect the rest of his money and be a ambassador, special assistant, help out in spring training next year. Next to the backstop, and ball 1 to Carpenter.
Maybe work on his golf game.
Yes, sir. It's a pretty good deal. I mean, all right, you don't have to play next year. We don't want you. However, we will pay you.
Pay you a lot.
Over $20 million to be a special assistant. You up for that?
You know what? I'll try that 1 year. Only 1 year.
Only
though.
one.
1 year. I don't want to put myself out there.
You don't want to extend.
No. 1 year deal.
Kubota power stats here on Matt Carpenter. 971 is OPS, just behind Daniel Murphy, Rizzo, Gonzalez, and Braun in the top 5. Popped up to the left side and out of play. We'll have the game for you tomorrow, and it's the major league debut of Luke Weaver. Kyle Hendricks will go for the Cubs. Sunday Night Baseball features Mike Leake and John Lackey. On the pregame show, you'll hear from Luke Weaver with Jim Hayes tomorrow on the pregame.
That guy's everywhere. That cat guy.
I like it when you two are on set.
We haven't been on set for a while.
But you get a little edgy with each other.
I think he gets a little edgy with a lot of people, especially you. He was sneaking up behind you while you were talking a few minutes ago.
Well, thank goodness we have the hallway cam, which is situated right behind us, just to keep an eye on what's happening.
See him coming.
2-2. Ground ball taken by Rizzo to Arrieta for the out. Brings in Stephen Piscotty. One of our special events is coming up on the 24th. We have a luncheon with Stephen Piscotty. Head to Cardinals.com special events. Chance to see and hear from Stephen up close. Very intimate setting at the ballpark before the game that night. And I understand how that kid feels.
Both of them. There's another one hiding in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see the other one.
Going with the blue headphones. There he is. Security. I love that cam.
Really brings you inside to the game. Here's the 0-1. There's a high fly ball lifted into center field. It's well hit off the bat of Piscotty, and the Cardinals get on the board. Right over the 400-foot sign here at Wrigley Field. A solo home run. 16th of the year, and the Cardinals get on the board.
Pretty much the first mistake that Jake Arrieta has made all day. That's just really just a fastball. Not a lot of velocity on it, but one of the first balls he's thrown right down the middle all day long.
And a strike to Moss. So home run for Piscotty, number 16, RBI number 62. And the Cardinals get on the board here at Wrigley.
Just a little bit of help from the wind, not much.
The south side of Chicago, it is raining and raining hard. Just missing us. Here's the 0-2. Fouled back. Popped up and out of play. And the 1-2. Pulled the string and a strikeout of Moss. Saturday, August 27th, Edward Jones will present 30,000 fans 16 and older with a collectible plaque honoring Chris Carpenter, Joe Torre, Terry Moore, and Sam Braden. That group will be inducted into the Cardinals Hall of Fame earlier in the day. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. But that changeup there from Jake Arrieta. Here is Alberto Rosario. Pretty nasty.
Well, that changeup is so effective because he could throw that fastball in on the lefties and it runs back and it keeps coming and he keeps coming at you. And then once you get that buried into your head, he throws the same pitch with just no velocity for the changeup and nothing you can do but swing over the top of it.
Yachty's day is through. Rosario grounds out, but a home run from Stephen Piscotty here in the top of the 5th to get the Cardinals on the board. The season series between these two teams, the Cardinals and the Cubs, even when the Cubs are down, they have been tough on the Cardinals. That's just always the way it has been, it seems like, especially in recent history. That's a look at your BJC Healthcare difference maker. Second inning of work for Jonathan Broxton. Here's Wilson Contreras, who picked up home run number 7 earlier in our game. That's it out of play. A lot of fans ask about who will be in the or at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In particular, Joe Torre, Chris Carpenter, and both are expected to be there. Joe Torre actually had it off his schedule just in case. He's a very busy guy with Major League Baseball and very touched and honored to receive the call to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. And Chris Carpenter unfortunately couldn't make it to the reunion of '06, but will be there for his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I think he's going to get just an awesome response from the fans. Really looking forward to it.
Deservingly so.
Bob Gibson, the biggest of the big game pitchers in Cardinals history, but right there with him to an extent, Chris Carpenter. He had some huge games, elimination games that he pitched in and pitched so well. Now, he's one of your very good friends. What do you think he's going to be like that afternoon? Because a lot of fans know him as mean, focused, grizzled, and those of us that know him on a personal level know that, yeah, he can be like that, but he's also a terrific guy.
Yeah, and I think it's a humbling experience, and I think he's not much for speeches, especially out in the open. He's a very intense competitor. And probably, you know, a lot of us don't really want to be in front of a crowd trying to deliver a speech in an emotional state. But, you know, I think that being humbled and being in that atmosphere with those people behind him, I think it'll be a very interesting speech, and can't wait to see him.
Emotional for you?
A little bit, yeah, of course. You think about all the people that have given you an opportunity to get to where you are. You think about, for me, being being the first group of people to do that, realizing that the guys in the red jackets before me have such a special mark on the Cardinals organization and really beyond in history in general of the game. And, you know, you go and 7 or 8, 9 opening days, and you see those few guys out there every day. And then I literally thought that Mr. DeWitt was kind of, you know, I thought that the honor was amazing, but when he said you're going to get a red jacket and you have to be there for opening day, I thought, no, surely you're kidding, right? Like, those guys that's special. That's the Hall of Famers territory, and it was kind of an eye-opening experience and overwhelming at the same time.
17 pitches so far for Jonathan Broxton. Had the honor, and I do consider it really an honor to MC those events and to see the emotions for the family members and those that go into the Hall of Fame. It is a special, special day. Held on to by Rosario and a strikeout. Nine-pitch at bat. Chevy Foxtrax. Saying an awful lot too. I would encourage anybody to go and take the time, get to the game early on any of these upcoming dates at home, and head to the Hall of Fame. Brian Finch and Bill DeWitt III have just made this, and Jr. have just made this a special place. When you walk through and see the history and the bats and the jerseys, the hats, the moments, the pictures, what you can do with kids in there. It's a great experience, and it's one that's been well, tried to be copied by many teams. Cardinals outside of Cooperstown probably have the best collection of memorabilia. There's over 22,000 pieces of memorabilia and artifacts, and a trip down memory lane. Obviously not all 22,000 being displayed at one time, but
there's a lot.
There's different themes when you go through the Hall of Fame, and It's also chronicled in the book Redbird Relics, if you get a chance to take that in too.
And don't forget, below all of the glassed-in areas, the drawers that you can pull out and see even more stuff.
I didn't realize, but Stan Musial, about 8 or 10 different keys to the city. And so if you pull out one of the drawers there that is below a ton of his memorabilia that he donated to the Cardinals right after he retired, you'll see some of the things that you probably didn't expect.
Is there that many doors to the city?
I don't. For him, I guess so.
Back ways.
I mean, there's a key there, and they're 1980, and here's 83, another key. And it's incredible. Get out of play by Montero. He's talking with Bill DeWitt III the other day and asking about some of his favorite pieces in there, and he mentioned a Branch Rickey jersey from 1922. 1922 Branch Rickey jersey. Of course, there's the jersey from Eddie Goodell that was worn by Bill DeWitt Jr. when he was the bat boy of the Browns. 1-2 the count with 1 out and nobody on. Upstairs. And they found that jersey, and you would think that's a huge piece of baseball history. Bill was telling me they found the jersey because an article was written about it, and the article was just asking, I wonder where the uniform is and the jersey, years ago. That article found its way to Bill DeWitt Jr., and he said, well, I have it. It's just sitting in the closet. They had worn that at times, by the way, family members. One of the third's aunts had worn that for Halloween.
No way.
Yeah, so he said, I guess we're lucky that there wasn't candy and soda and everything else on the jersey, but it's in perfect condition and displayed at the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Pretty incredible. Two balls and 2 strikes. Center field. Grichuk backing up. Plenty of room to make the catch. Some of the private tours too, they will put the gloves on those that come through the Hall of Fame and then take out the actual bats used by Jim Edmonds, Stan the Man, Pujols, and you can hold those bats. You can put on the ring of Stan the Man, of one of his World Series titles. It's really neat. 2 outs and nobody on. Here's Javier Baez. I'm assuming you got the private tour to the Cardinals Hall of Fame with maybe a member of the DeWitts or the Hall of Fame staff.
You know, we walked through it a couple times, but never really had the time to spend the amount of time that I wanted to. I walked through there with Bill DeWitt one time, but in a short amount of time, and I think I went through there 2 or 3 times before I realized that those drawers pulled out, and that's what was so interesting to me, is it's like a whole nother museum under there.
Oh yeah.
But it is definitely worth your time to go check it out. I still see things in there. We were in there doing a quick little segment the other day, and things that kind of catch your eye when you keep going back for more and more.
Extends the inning to Arrieta. Just joined us. Adam Wainwright, shortest outing of his career, matched it. 2 innings, 7 runs. Maine is a scoreless inning, and now Broxton trying to make it 2 scoreless innings here. 2-0 the count. Should be pitch number 30 coming up. Starting to rain here at the ballpark. Never forget, Sunday afternoon, Eli Marrero broke his ankle on one of the wildest days in terms of weather here at Wrigley Field. I couldn't believe they were going to play the game. We talked about it last night, how the flags atop the stadium whip, and you can hear them whipping. 2 of the flags were torn off, and we were playing baseball during that.
And like I said, they dump all the water in the outfield, and it's nice and cool when you go out there and you see the guys can run around the bases and the infielders are fine. But when you're standing in the outfield like he was that day, you're really running in a swamp.
2-2 the count on Arrieta. Pulls it foul. The 2-2. Struck him out. So good work thus far from the bullpen, just like we saw last night. Cubs on top after 5. It's 7-1. It's A-Rod, and he's coming your way tonight on Fox at 6. Had to give it a lot of oomph, Jimmy.
That was some oomph right there.
A-Rod tonight at 6. Don't want to miss it. Final game in pinstripes. Here is Jedd Gyorko. Right-hander throwing in the pen for Chicago. Jerome Williams is throwing for the Cardinals. Reached on an error and a single for Gyorko. The rain is picked up here at Wrigley Field. Pitch number 98. So final inning of work here for Arrieta. Little tapper, backhanded by Arrieta. One away. Brings in Greg Garcia. Some of the folks starting to head for cover.
It's getting a little darker here.
Other fans have brought ponchos, just like my partner today, Jim Edmonds, who always comes prepared.
Just in case it rains in the booth, I brought my poncho.
Good work. Can't get a lot by you, Jimmy.
I'm on the Weather Channel always.
Back to Arrieta. What's on tap? Cardinals and Cubs. Weaver, Hendricks. Coverage begins 12:30. It's our Budweiser. What's on tap?
Little snuggling going on in the stands.
Oh yeah,
trying to keep close and keep dry. That'll be us here pretty soon. Get a little more wind coming in.
That's ripped foul.
Did you see that thing camera around in there?
Oh yeah,
like a pinball machine.
Goes down to get it, lines it into left center field. One hops off the wall, then Grichuk trots in with a double, and he's 1 for 3 today. That swing right there is a good example of what the Cardinals see and why they are high on Randal Grichuk.
Well, I was just going to say too, the at bat before, it looked like he was kind of in between, not knowing whether to look fastball, look slider. And that at bat, he looked like he went out there looking for a fastball to hit. A completely different swing, bat speed a lot quicker. And you can see even by just the fastball that he pulled foul into the sands, he was ready to go.
That's it for Arrieta. Chevy called to the pen. The StubHub app. Not only will you find the seats you'll love whenever you want, you can buy the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. Rain is picked up here at Wrigley. 7-1 the lead for Chicago. Justin Grimm, we saw him last night. Cardinals get Arrieta out of there, and let's see if they can do something with it. Here's Colton Wong. Randall Grichuk at second, and the first pitch is taken for a ball.
Get a chance to get Jake Arrieta out of the game and really just try to see what you can do. I mean, you can't give up yet. A couple runs, you never know what can happen. You always know that the wind's blowing out and you're one pitch away from throwing up 2 or 3 runs with a homer. Another nice job by that man right there. It's amazing how much movement he has on his ball.
And that gets away. Pham is at the on-deck circle. You see it all the time with Colton Wong. When he's hit by a pitch, usually it catches the back leg on a breaking ball from a righty.
Stays in there with that back foot. Just let it bounce. You see that ball that bounced kind of weird. That breaking ball kind of kicks to the left. Hit the catcher in the bare hand.
Fouled back. Strikeout of Wong. Flips his bat, slams his helmet. 7-1 Cubs. Chicago, bottom of the 6th. Cardinals could use multiple innings here from Jerome. Light rain here at the ballpark still.
There's a little bit of red out there still.
And Caesar will lead it off. Doubled, hit by a pitch, scored a couple of runs, and yanks that foul. Told the story a couple of times in our Chevy Call to the Pen, but you may be wondering, this is the first time you've seen Jerome Williams. He wears and uses a pink glove, and that's to honor his mother. Went through breast cancer. That's well hit. Left center and gone.
A little bit of a nothing slider, didn't do much, and Jerome knew it as soon as it hit the bat. You see him put his head down, but I'll tell you what, everything Joe Madden has been doing this year has been working. Mixing up the lineup, throwing some fresh legs out there. Literally started the game with an energetic double. Big first 2 innings, and then still going with it.
Good changeup. No balls, 2 strikes on Chris Bryant.
You gotta like that though. Like we were talking about being athletic, and you throw Caesar out there in center field. You put your young stud catcher out in left field, and they both give you home run, 2 home runs, a double, lead off the game. I mean, like you said, every little thing that he's doing is working for him.
And a strikeout for Jerome Williams. So the expectations should be a little high, huh? When you think about the Chicago Cubs this year.
I'll tell you what, they've been waiting a long time.
107 years.
Tell you what, this is if there was a team that was going to give it a run in the last 15-20 years, this is going to be the one. We've had some good teams here, but they've fallen short, even just fallen short of the playoffs, and probably were better than they, you know, teams are better than they finished. But this is the year they expect to at least get closer than they have in the past.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Danny, the expectations are one thing. I'm telling you, we got 30 teams, and to be that last team, it is hard to win. It is hard to finish off a series after series after series of a long year, and everybody gunning for you.
Shift was on, so Gyorko has to come over from that shortstop position, makes the catch. Harder now than maybe it's ever been because of the added wild card, and as you mentioned, 3 series to get through. Now, something that the Cubs do have is tremendous starting pitching.
It's definitely going to help. Like I said, and you know what else too is the scouting and the detail of what they have on each hitter and each pitcher now. Especially guys that you don't face that often. Give you so much of an advantage going up against someone, and you'll get more detail going up against the Cubs, let's say, and their starting pitchers. They'll send a lot more scouts out because they know that it's going to be that much tougher to beat a team with that kind of pitching.
A little bit low. Left center. Grichuk back, leaps, gone. Over the basket, and a home run. 2 home runs in the inning. 9-1 Chicago here in the bottom of the 6th. Soler with home run number 8. The basket, unique aspect of this ballpark.
Tell you what, that basket can take some outs away too. You see Grichuk jump up there. If that basket's not there, that ball hits the top of the wall. And sometimes you're running out there as an outfielder thinking you're going to catch it, and the ball literally just falls right in front of you, right into the basket. It's a very, very unique deal here at Wrigley.
Two-one pitch. Addison Russell at the plate. Pulls it foul. Man, oh man.
That hit an empty seat.
Thank goodness.
Oh, maybe not.
He says he's all right.
Should flex.
How about
flex
the fan?
it.
He gave him the baseball. You earned it.
Wow, that's pretty impressive right there.
2-2 pitch. Chicago. Foundation of Missouri. Last night, a pinch hit home run by Randall Grichuk provided the 13th pinch hit home run for the Cardinals. And Tommy Pham will dig in for the first time. The first pitch is taken for a ball. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Second inning of relief for Grimm, and that's hammered out to center, but right at Caesar for the out. Ball was knuckling a bit, wasn't it?
That's a great shot of that from up here. I don't know if you can see that on TV, but one of those things that we talked about in the outfield. The ball was knuckling the whole way.
Rather, Williams pops it up, playable, and the catch is made by Montero. 2 quick outs.
One of the ways you can tell back to Tommy Phan's ball that it was knuckling was he hit that ball hard and it didn't carry at all. The ball was a line drive that just stayed right where it was, no backspin. Makes it tough on the center fielder. You think it's gonna hit over your head. The ball kind of knuckles down.
Piscotty is accounted for the lone run for the Cardinals today with a solo home run. And the 1-1 pitch. Right at Caesar. That one knuckled again. Time to stretch. It's 9-1. Our score is 9-1. The Cubs on top. Second inning. Contreras, big blow in this game. 3-run shot off of Adam Wainwright. He lasted 2 innings, gave up 7 runs. And Williams has allowed a couple of home runs in his 1 inning of work. Contreras leads it off. Here's a 1-1.
Base hit into left. Good looking young player, isn't he?
He is. That's what I mean. Like watching these young guys hit. I mean, and that's the thing about the Cubs. I tell you what, you could blend your good players with some young, talented players that bring energy, and you got the best of both worlds.
Here's Montero. Everything's going through the mind right now of Luke Weaver. Makes his Major League debut tomorrow. He's seen this Cubs bunch get after the Cardinals here today, and Adam Wainwright.
Hopefully he's thinking to himself, one, they're not going to do this to me because I need to get the ball down.
Fly ball into center. Catch made by Grichuk. One away.
I'll tell you what, I mean, if you watch the guys that pitch at this ballpark successfully, it literally you have to pitch in. You have to be able to pitch in effective strikes to be able to get guys out away. If you just kind of stick with the breaking ball and fastball and away and just think you're just going to move the ball around against this team and in this ballpark, it just doesn't work. You have to get certain hitters to think that you're going to challenge them in, and you're going to have to do that effectively and a lot to get them off of your breaking ball. Because the one thing about being a hitter in this ballpark is you know that either gap is short. You don't have to try too hard. All you got to do is literally stay back and hit the ball in the barrel, and you got a chance at a homer.
Wind has died down. Still a very light rain here at the ballpark. One pitch. One ball, two strikes. Two-two pitch with one out and a runner at first. Baez, left field, gone.
See right here, this fastball right down the middle, but if you look at the rest of the pitches in that at bat, out over the plate, nothing to really speed them up. And right now those guys are just kind of staying in there and looking to the big part of the field, and that makes hitting easy.
This would be the definition of taking one for the team if you're Jerome Williams.
Well, they need somebody to go out there and suck up innings. And
yep.
Still got one more after this.
And again, you're talking about tomorrow, Major League debut. Only the second outing potentially in the major leagues for Alex Reyes. So there's excitement around that, clearly, from the Cardinals' perspective, but a little trepidation, too. You just don't know.
you don't know what you're going to get. Hopefully, those young kids are raring to go tomorrow and to prove everyone that they can pitch in this league. And what a better time to do it in this ballpark against this team.
Just thinking along here with 1 out. We are only in the 7th. Would you think about potential of a position player and pitching in the 8th inning if and when we get there?
Well, I think you need to be careful, and I think if this inning doesn't end really quick, you have to look at that. And you got that threw a bunch of pitches yesterday. Duke, Segras, Bowman. I mean, you got guys down there, but you also have tomorrow looming with a young starter. And like I said, there's always that what if doubt in your head. Is what if something goes wrong? What am I going to do if it doesn't work out the way we planned? So there's some guys down there that can throw, but do you want to use them in this situation?
11-1 Chicago, game 2 of this 4-game series. Matt Caesar, and a fastball and a strike. Left field, gone. (13-1) here in the bottom of the 7th. Here's Bryant. That's a base hit to left. You know, you think about Jerome Williams here, and you're asking him to take one for the team, but there's also the component of this is a competitor, this is a professional, and you don't want to be embarrassed too. And that's something that Mike Matheny needs to think about as well.
Yeah, he's thinking about it, I'm sure. Obviously, you're not saying it in a negative way, but that's like that all weighs in on everything that happens out on that field each and every day. And you know, you say sometimes that the guy's going to go out there and have to take one for the team, and what you're really meaning is he's going to have to suck up some innings no matter what. But at the same time, you don't want to leave a guy out there to be embarrassed or to basically get hammered just because. And something's got to be done, and sometimes it has to be the position player or a guy that really shouldn't be in the situation out there. You bring in a reliever that usually is in a spot where you've been using him in the 8th or the 9th or in close games, but you got to keep pushing forward, because this is still a game, or it's never going to end.
Williams has allowed 4 home runs in his relief outing. The guys are just teeing off right now.
Well, I mean, Jerome's throwing pitches down in the zone, moving the ball around, but you know, you go out there and you're facing guys that are throwing 94, 95, 96, and he comes in at 90, 91, and you got to really work the zone. I mean, that's a good pitch right there. He went inside, Rizzo lines one foul, then you come back with a nice changeup. So it's there. Just have to really execute your pitches.
Cardinals Hall of Fame induction class has been selected. Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, Chris Carpenter. August 27th at Fox Sports Midwest Live. And you can head to the Hall of Fame and watch it for free. Got to make that play.
Oh,
got to make the play.
He was over aggressive and trying to call off the other guy, and then he ended up dropping it.
You have to make that play.
If you're going to call somebody off, you got to catch it, right?
Jimmy. You know all about it. 8 gold gloves. You call somebody off, you've got to make the play. Cameraman, center fielder. I don't care. You make that play.
You have to catch that ball.
You want to go down and talk to him?
He's embarrassed.
Seriously, you want to go down and talk to him?
No, there's enough people yelling at him right now.
He's getting it enough?
He's getting it. Even by his own fans.
Two and 2, 13-1 in favor of Chicago here in the bottom of the 7th.
There we go.
Brandon Moss will lead it off against Joe Smith, picked up at the trade deadline. Cardinals out hit 14-4, trail 13-1. Home runs aplenty in this game. If you're the Cardinals, do you go with a position player in the bottom of the 8th? You could bring in Peralta into this game to play the infield.Maybe Greg Garcia would go to the mound. Or is it Jerome Williams for one more inning of work?
I don't know what you do if you're Mike Matheny here. You got to be careful on all fronts. Another decision to be made.
It's one of those games, Jimmy, long season. I'm sure Mike Matheny afterwards will say, look, we didn't get the best outing, obviously, from Adam Wainwright. You have these games, course of a long season. We're going to tell our guys, forget it. We'll have a nice dinner, come back, get ready tomorrow.
That's really all you can do. I mean, these are going to happen, and when they do, that's the way you got to treat it.
Now, having said all that, doesn't make it any easier. Not a lot of fun to be down there right now in a Cardinals uniform, but part of the game.
It is part of the game, and you got to keep playing. I mean, you really do. This is when people are watching you the most to see how you react and what kind of at bat you're going to have in a situation like this, to see if you're a leader or you're just a guy that's just going to go out there and mail it in.
Check swing and a strikeout of Moss. Full day of baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest and FS1. Cardinals continue their series with the Cubs. Will come your way at 12:30. FS1, Pirates and Dodgers, Angels and Indians. Baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest, FS1, or watch the games live on Fox Sports Go. Two and one on Rosario. Called up to the big leagues and now hitting .217. Drops to his knees. 2-2 the count. The 2-2. Lines it into right center. There's Caesar, and he makes the catch on the run.
See him going in the gap, no wasted steps. He's done a really nice job for the Cubbies today. Done everything that you could possibly do in a game. A little offense, a little defense. Even a hit by pitch.
Two outs, no balls and a strike on Jedd Gyorko. Infield with a shift. 1 ball, 1 strike. See if Gyorko goes the other way. Instead, he looks at a ball. 3-1 the count. Nobody throwing in the Cardinals pen. Hammered out to deep left field. This one is way out of here. Home run, Jedd Gyorko, and the Cardinals have their second home run of the day. Ball was crushed.
That ball was hit. He said it best yesterday. He's a fastball hitter and got himself a fastball in the count and hammered it.
Even the subdued water splash.
That was a very mellow water shower.
So Jedd Gyorko with the home run, number 16 this year.
Trying to go away. The ball ran back into the inner half of the plate, and that's right where Jedd Gyorko likes it.
Matches his home run total of a year ago. 13-2, and now Garcia fouls it, or rather pops it up. He was looking back initially. I was watching him, but that ball was popped up on the infield. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Gyorko home run. It's 13-2. By Bud Light, Rays 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. All Cubbies here in game 2, 13-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Like we said, this is truly taking one for the team. That's what Jerome Williams is doing here. A strike to Contreras.
All you can do is get back out there and get to work. Like I said, try to execute some pitches and get a quick inning.
Oh-2 pitch. Get to the right side. There's Colton Wong. Nice play. Ranging to his left. That's the first out. Plaza Tire Service replay.
Nice play by Colt Long right there. Literally going way, way, way to his left out in the grass.
Miguel Montero. 1 out and nobody on. Ground ball to Wong again. 2 quick outs. Post-game show is coming up. Scott Mormon is standing by with all the news and highlights of the day around Major League Baseball. Javier Baez is homered. 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, and 294 at-bats.
Nice sinker on the outside corner in the black right there by Jerome Williams. Sometimes you get caught up in the game. I mean, you go out there and stuff can happen so fast. A tough 7th inning. Sit down for a little bit and say, okay, that's not happening again. I'm going back out there with a little more conviction. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to go back out there and make some pitches.
And he'll enjoy this 1-2-3. So Williams has a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. 13-2 Chicago. Hongo Award. Jim Edmonds took that home multiple times. They sit on his mantle at home. Travis Wood, our Hyundai pitch arsenal. Lefty comes in. We'll try to get the final 3 outs. Really is nothing like getting that Gold Glove or a Hongo.
The Hongo Award, hands down, one of the best awards out there. I mean, you got to go for it. You got to go for it each and every week.
Russell called off by Contreras for the out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2.
Good swing right there.
On 1-2. Trying to get him to chase that breaking ball. Evens it up at 2-2. Hit to short. Russell. 2 down. Matt Caesar 3 for 4. Couple of home runs. Double hit by pitch. 4 runs scored. Our Budweiser player of the game. Cardinals down to their final out. It's 13-2 Chicago, and here is Tommy Pham. Pulls it down the left field line, and it is foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pham. One and 2. Will this be the final pitch of the game? Here's a 3-2 to Tommy Pham. And he walked him. Travis Wood has turned into a very reliable pitcher for Chicago. At one point he was in the rotation a few years ago. Came over from Cincinnati. Sean Marshall deal. Marshall got hurt. Never really was much of a factor with the Reds. Two outs, runner at first. Johnny Peralta takes a ball. Breaks his bat. Shallow center. Drops in for a hit. Pham on his way. Nope. He's going to stay put at second. easily would have made it to third.
Johnny Peralta, if you got to come into this game, you might as well get a hit. Bites off a fastball. Drops in. Tommy made a big turn. I don't know why he didn't keep going, but stopped and came back. Probably thought it wasn't worth the chance of getting thrown out at third in a game like this. 13-2.
Piscotty, one of the 2 Cardinals home runs today. Runners at first and second. 2 outs and a ground ball. This should do it. Force play at second. Almost thrown into right field, but Baez stretches, and this game is over. 13-2. Cubs have taken the first 2 of this 4-game set.
Kind of an ugly game for the Cardinals. Ugly day all the way around. 13-2. Not the game you want after last night's extra inning loss, but it is what it is. Like you said, these games are going to happen, and you just got to go in, shower up, and go have a nice dinner and be a professional about it. Come back tomorrow ready to play.
Post-game show comes your way next. The final 13-2. The Cubs take game number 2.